Hello everyone. In this episode, we will discuss the most important events of the week. Let's start with Vietnam, where Typhoon Yagi has wreaked havoc, causing significant damage. Super Typhoon Yagi, recognized as the most powerful storm in Asia this year, struck northern Vietnam, according to the Meteorological Agency, after it had swept across the southern Chinese island of Hainan. Thus, Yagi became the second most powerful tropical cyclone in the world in 2024. When the typhoon reached northern Vietnam's archipelago around 1 p.m. local time on Saturday, wind speeds at its center reached 160 kilometers per hour or 99 miles per hour. This was a weakening from its peak of 234 kilometers per hour or 145 miles per hour on Hainan a day earlier. The coastal city of Haiphong in Vietnam, a major industrial hub with a population of 2 million people, was heavily impacted by Yagi's powerful strike. The city, home to factories of international companies and the local automaker VinFast, experienced widespread power outages on Saturday, as authorities reported. Witnesses said the wind shattered windows and tore off large tree branches. The streets were almost empty as residents heeded authorities' urgent requests to stay indoors. Vietnamese officials also evacuated around 50,000 people from coastal towns and mobilized 450,000 military personnel to address the aftermath of the natural disaster. Operations at 4 airports, including the largest one in Hanoi, Noi Bai Airport, were temporarily suspended on Saturday. The region was expected to receive more than 18 inches of rain, according to the National Center for Hydrometeorological Forecasting. Meteorologists in Vietnam issued warnings of potential landslides, floods in small rivers and low-lying areas, as well as storms and coastal surges. Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh ordered northern provinces and cities, including Hanoi, a metropolis with a population of 8.6 million people, to prepare for the storm's arrival. In the city of Nam Dinh, located approximately 45 miles south of Hanoi, more than 1,000 people were evacuated from old apartment buildings ahead of Yagi's approach. Additionally, secondary schools in 12 northern provinces, including Hanoi, were closed. Experts note that typhoons are becoming stronger due to rising ocean temperatures caused by climate change. Yagi was named after the Japanese word for goat and the constellation Capricorn. Even more tragic consequences are being observed in China. In the south of the country, more than 1 million people have been affected. 3 people have died and 95 are in hospitals. The storm has impacted the provinces of Hainan and Guangdong, as well as the Guangxi-Zhuang Autonomous Region. Infrastructure in both urban and rural areas has been damaged, and transportation services have been partially suspended. Locals are sharing footage on social media showing hurricane-force winds tearing off roofs and overturning trucks. President Xi Jinping has ordered enhanced measures to address the aftermath. The restoration of transportation, energy, and other infrastructure is proceeding urgently. The tropical depression that developed into Typhoon Yagi intensified into a super typhoon on the night of September 2nd. The first strike hit the Philippines, and the typhoon then strengthened into a super typhoon. Wind speeds within the typhoon exceeded 50 meters per second.
这是6号楼，6号楼的25楼的窗户玻璃破了，但是框没有吹掉。
In the United States, a major evacuation of residents from more than 100 homes has taken place in Southern California due to an expanding landslide. The events are unfolding in the city of Rancho Palos Verdes, where the landslide, which began several days ago, continues to move actively. As a result of this movement, residential homes are now just centimeters away from the edge, posing a serious threat to the lives and property of local residents. Rescuers have had to take precautionary measures, including shutting off electricity in the area to prevent potential accidents and reduce the risk of fires. Local authorities have reported that homes, roads, and infrastructure have already been damaged by the landslide, which has been shifting over decades. The question remains as to why previous measures to prevent or mitigate the landslide's impact were not implemented in time. Specialist teams are currently working to assess the situation and develop a plan for restoring the affected areas. These terrifying images were captured in Mexico, specifically in the Sonora Desert. Approximately 25 kilometers from the city of Hermosillo, a gigantic crack has formed in the ground, stretching 3 kilometers long, 1.5 meters wide, and up to 4 meters deep. It appeared in early August. Local farmers discovered the crack when they noticed a few missing cows. It turned out that the animals had fallen into the crack and perished. Scientists are now working at the site of this natural anomaly. Geologists are trying to understand what caused such large cracks in the ground, but no specific explanations have been provided yet. Italy has been hit by torrential rains and hurricane-force winds. The hardest hit areas are the northwestern regions of the country. Roads are flooded, power lines and trees are down. In the municipality of Peschiera Borromeo, emergency services managed to rescue 2 people from a sudden flood. An elderly couple was trapped and unable to get out on their own. An orange weather alert is in effect along the entire Tuscan coast. In Marina di Grosseto, rescuers report a tornado that led to the closure of all open swimming pools and beaches. There have been no reports of injuries, but the damage from the severe weather is significant. Authorities promise to restore everything in the coming days. Residents of the region are advised to postpone long trips, avoid parking cars under trees, and stay informed with updates from emergency services. These are scenes from Ecuador, where abnormally high temperatures have been causing large-scale wildfires for several days. In the province of Pichincha, the fire has destroyed more than 500 hectares of forest. Locals are complaining about a strong burning smell in the air, which is noticeable even at a considerable distance from the fire's origin. Rescuers assure that the fire is 95% under control, and emergency services have sufficient resources to prevent the spread of the flames to populated areas. At the same time, the situation is significantly worse in the neighboring province of Loja. The flames have destroyed nearly 8,000 hectares of forest. Fire brigades and aviation are working around the clock to extinguish the fire, but it is still insufficient to gain complete control over the situation. Residents of Loja are preparing for possible evacuation, and local authorities are urging them to gather all necessary belongings and follow the instructions of emergency services. Authorities have sent additional forces to the region to assist in firefighting and ensure public safety. The red level of danger will remain in effect until the middle of next week, indicating a high risk to life and health. Specialists predict that weather conditions may worsen the situation and urge residents to exercise caution and stay prepared for possible changes in the situation. A similar situation is unfolding in India. In the state of Andhra Pradesh, where the monsoon season is currently underway, around 60 people have died due to river overflows. Local authorities report that the situation is continuing to worsen. River water levels remain high, leading to ongoing flooding. Those who manage to escape from flooded homes are being assisted by rescuers to move to temporary shelters, where temporary camps with basic amenities have been set up. Often, people have to leave behind their livestock and pets, adding stress and anxiety to the lives of the affected. People are in panic, feeling lost and unsure of how to act in these challenging conditions. Locals are blaming the government for not being prepared for this period of rainfall, despite forecasts predicting possible flooding. Witnesses report that in some areas, the water inside buildings reaches up to people's necks. The situation is further aggravated by landslides and strong winds, which are also damaging infrastructure. The military, rescue teams, and volunteers are actively involved in rescue operations. The authorities have promised that all affected individuals will receive compensation for the damage. The government has already begun work on restoring the damaged infrastructure, including roads, bridges, and buildings. And to conclude, the legendary tomato fights in Spain. The La Tomatina festival takes place annually in the province of Valencia, in the town of Buñol. People throw tomatoes at each other and roll around in the tomato paste that covers the streets of the town. The tomatoes used for the festival are specially grown as they are not suitable for consumption. According to the rules, before throwing, the tomato must be crushed first to avoid causing harm to others. The festival has been held in Buñol since the 1950s, and according to legend, it originated with a local musician who went to the market. He played so poorly that the locals started grabbing tomatoes from the stalls and throwing them at the unskilled performer. Gradually, everyone present joined in the tomato fight.